going to talk to you guys today about how to boost your brain, how we can remember more, how we can focus better, and how we can think sharper. But before I start anything, I want you guys to do a little exercise with me. If all of you can just close your eyes and listen to my words. Okay, so just for a few seconds, close your eyes and imagine a lemon in front of you. Now imagine picking up the lemon and holding it in your hand. Imagine feeling the roundness of it, the sphericalness of it, and then imagine feeling the texture of the lemon, the little bumps. Now open your eyes up, keep your eyes closed, and look at the yellow color of the lemon. Bring it close to your nose. Take a big whiff. And smell the citrusy, lemony smell. Now take a knife and open the lemon and feel the juice spilling out. Pick up one half of it and squeeze the juice into your mouth. Feel the citrusy lemon going down your throat. And now you can open your eyes. So what did everybody experience? Please use the chat box to communicate with me when you did this exercise.
I have lots and lots of honey in my mouth.
I think she's got logged off.
All right, no problem.
Do you want to share about, one second.
That was awesome, actually. You know, the moment I saw the lemonade, it got the water, definitely. But at the same time, you know, when we were, yeah, doctor is back.
Yeah.
So sorry, I got cut out for a minute. But I'm sure some of you felt the lime juice, some of you felt the sour in your mouth, saliva coming out, all of this stuff. Isn't that amazing? You didn't have it in front of you, but you could touch it, you could see it, you could taste it. That's how incredible our brain is. It really is a really amazing organ because it's made of billions of neurons that create trillions of connections with each other. And think about all of the stars in our galaxy. Your brain connections than all of the stars combined. And these connections are what that you think, you feel, and you do. Now, for the longest time, it was thought that these connections that the neurons that we are born with, the billions of neurons that we are born with, are the only ones we have for the rest of our lives. But recently, we know that this is actually not true. As adults, we continue to create new neurons in a process called adult neurogenesis. However, this happens in a very unique organ in the body, or in the brain. It's called the hippocampus. And this hippocampus is right in the middle of our brain, right in the center, and is important for learning and memory, as well as regulating our mood and emotion. And as adults, we create up to 700 new neurons a day. Now, it may not seem like much compared to the billions of neurons that we already have, but by the time you turn 50, you will have replaced all of your original neurons that you were born with in the hippocampus with these new neurons. So these new neurons are important for all of the new things that you learn, the new habits that you learn, and to keep your mood and emotion stable. So this is a cross-section of a hippocampus. And version of it, and the bright blue is the newborn neuron in a mouse hippocampus. And the same thing happens in humans as well. Now, why do we need these new neurons? What is their role? What is their function? So, of course, they are important in learning and memory, and especially the memories of spatial recognition. So the way you find your way in the city, that's called spatial recognition. So it's these new neurons that allow you to have these new memories as you get older. Not only does it help you improve your learning and memory ability, but it also helps the quality of the memory. So you're able to remember things for longer. because of these new neurons. So knowing that how important adult neurogenesis is for learning and for memory, it's the important question is that can we control our own neurogenesis? Can we create new neurons as adults? And luckily, the answer is yes. So we're going to do a quiz now, and I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to give you guys a set of behaviors and activities, and you tell me if you think this activity will increase neurogenesis or decrease neurogenesis. What about learning or reading? Will increase. That's right. It increases neurogenesis. The more you learn, the more new neurons are born as an adult. More new neurons means you have better memory, better learning ability, you are sharper. What about stress? Does that increase neurogenesis or decrease neurogenesis? Yes, stress will absolutely decrease neurogenesis. The more stressed you are, the fewer neurons you create as an adult. And that's why stress can often affect people's memory, and also they're less able to learn things faster. What about sleep deprivation? So not getting enough sleep. Increase neurogenesis or decrease neurogenesis? Yes, absolutely. Sleep is highly important for creating new neurons in your hippocampus and has a very strong correlation with your memory ability. What about intimacy? It's a tricky one. So yes, it actually increases neurogenesis.
Yeah, everyone knows about it. Yeah.
But remember, it's all about balance. You don't want to be in a position where too much intimacy causes sleep deprivation. What about aging? Aging will also decrease. However, there is less neurogenesis as you get older, but that doesn't mean neurogenesis stops completely. And there are actually certain actions you can take to make sure that your neurogenesis doesn't go below a certain level, even as you get older. So you actually are in control of your own neurogenesis, even as you get older. What about running? Yes, absolutely. Running increases neurogenesis. And here you can see a hippocampus cut from a mouse that had no running, that was in a cage. And black spots are the new neurons born in the adult mouse. And you can see there are really few. Here is a hippocampus from a mouse that has a running wheel in its cage. You can see it has so many more new neurons. So running really does increase your neurogenesis, and more neurogenesis means, of course, better memory, better learning ability, as we learned. Now, it's not only running, it's any kind of aerobic exercise. So not only does it help improve your neurogenesis and gives you more neurons and improves your memory and learning ability, it actually does a lot of other things for your brain. We always think of exercise as something we do to lose weight or to look fit or be physically more active. But exercise actually does a lot more for your brain than it does for your body. Specifically, it increases the production of 3 really important neurotransmitters in your brain: dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Now, dopamine is your reward molecule. So if you ever found yourself wanting to buy something on Amazon or finish doing a puzzle or win an award, it's because dopamine that is motivating you to go take the action necessary to get that reward. And if you are lacking in motivation, you probably have low dopamine. In fact, they did a study on mice where they turned off the dopamine neurotransmitter in the mice, and these mice don't even have the motivation to go get food. So the food will be right in front of them, but they would rather starve than go make the effort to go eat that food. That's how important dopamine is to motivate you to do any action. Serotonin is the happiness molecule. So this is a molecule that regulates your mood. It's also present in all of the antidepressants available today. And norepinephrine is the molecule that allows you to stay focused and pay attention to the task at hand without getting distracted. And exercise is like this magic pill that immediately and significantly gives a boost to all these 3 neurotransmitters at the same time. dopamine, serotonin, making you motivated, making your mood better, and making you more focused. So if there's something that a project that you've been trying to put off, procrastinating and not feeling motivated to do, you cannot focus on it, try to do it right after 20-minute run or anything aerobic that will give you a boost of these 3 neurotransmitters in your brain. And then you sit to study or sit to do whatever it is that you're putting off. You will see an immediate boost in how motivated you are to do it and how long you can sit to focus and do it. Now, apart from improving your mood and your motivation and your focus, exercise also actually physically helps grow your brain because it increases the production of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is basically a growth fertilizer for your brain. So more BDNF means a bigger and stronger hippocampus, means more neurons in your hippocampus, which means better ability to learn and better memory. And apart from improving all of these things, apart from making you more motivated, making your memory better, making you focus better, exercise also has a lot of protective abilities for your brain. So it helps protect your brain from future neurodegenerative diseases. So there was a study done with 2,600 participants that found that people that included physical exercise, especially aerobics, so something that gets your heart rate up and blood to your brain, included that in their daily lifestyle, was 70% less likely to develop neurodegenerative diseases like dementia and Alzheimer's. So it has long-term protective benefits for your brain. Now, the other thing we went through in our quiz was sleep, but before that. So everybody knows we have to exercise, right? Everybody knows we need to do this, but it's hard to get it into our daily life and make it a fixed part of our lives. So think about ways to make it part of your daily life. So if there are, think of making it into a habit. And one easy way to make something habit is reducing your friction to those things. So for example, if when you wake up in the morning, you don't really feel like going to work out, but if you keep your clothes ready out in the morning, you keep your shoes running shoes right next to your bed, that is one less friction from keeping you to do that activity. So reduce friction as much as you can to help you create new habits and attach it with something you already do. So, take on your way back from work, take the route that will make you pass by the gym. So you can go drop it. Whatever tricks you can come up with to help make that habit stick. And exercise doesn't have to mean going to the gym. Make it fun. So if there's something, if you like dancing is a great way to exercise. If you like playing sports, that's a great way to exercise. Even yoga. So find something that actually speaks to you and make it fun and interesting. And if going to the gym is boring for you, your brain is not going to be motivated to do that. So find something that your brain actually finds interesting. And you can also make it easy. So there are simple things you can do in your daily life. For lunch, instead of eating lunch at your desk, you go take a walk and eat lunch somewhere else. Or add movements in your daily life. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Little things that you do add up. So the other really important thing to improve your neurogenesis that we talked about is sleep, which is a topic very close to my heart because I suffered from a lot of sleep disorders when I was younger. So we all know, sleep does a lot of important things for our body, helps us keep our immune system strong, helps us not get sick, helps us keep our weight right, all of these other things, helps us stay fit, but it also does a lot of important things for our brain. Specifically, sleep is very highly correlated with memory because when you are in deep sleep, that's when the brain goes through all of the day's event, sorts through all these memories, and strengthens the one it thinks are important in a process called memory consolidation. So if you're not getting enough sleep, then all of these new memories, they're basically, all these new incoming emails, memory emails, are not going into your inbox. They just keep getting bounced back. So you end up waking up and feeling like you don't remember what you did yesterday or 2 months ago. That's because you're not allowing your brain, not having enough deep sleep makes it impossible for your brain to convert your daily activities into long-term memories. And the other really important thing sleep does is it helps protect you from neurodegenerative diseases. Because when you are in deep sleep, that's when the brain's sewage system is activated. So all of the byproducts of the things that you do every day, all of the toxic proteins that get collected, when you are in deep sleep, that's when the brain flushes out these toxins. So if you're not getting enough deep sleep, these toxins keep getting accumulated in your brain and end up, as you get older, the bigger and bigger accumulations end up giving you diseases like Alzheimer's or the neurodegenerative diseases. So deep sleep is extremely important to protect you from future neurodegenerative diseases. Even if you feel that, you're a young person, you can stay up all night, doesn't matter. Yes, it may not matter now, but it's going to have a lot of long-term benefits as you get older. And it affects your memory. So again, with sleep, there are some basic things. We all know the things we should be doing, stay away from the phone, but it's important to hear them again and again. I had to hear them 100 times before I finally adopted them into my daily life. So adopt healthy sleeping habits, like keeping your room completely dark, keeping your phone away from you. So don't keep it even accessible. Either put it on the other side of the bed, or better yet, even keep it outside your house, outside the bedroom. And try to create like a pre-sleep routine. So something that you do every evening to wind down that gives a signal to your brain that it's time to go to sleep. So whether it's taking a shower, drinking some milk, or whatever it is your routine is, like 3 or 4 rituals that trigger to your brain that as soon as you start doing them, that it's time to go to sleep, and then your brain gets into that pattern. So it gets easier for your brain to sleep that way. And it's hard. Making any new habit is hard. So you're not going to immediately, if you do this for 2 days, if you keep your phone away for 2 days and you follow a sleep routine for 2 days, you're not immediately going to see the results. It takes time for the brain to get into that habit and for it to become a long-term habit for your brain. So it becomes second nature. But it takes time. But you can't give up after 2 days. You can't give up after 3 days. It takes up to 21 days for the brain to form a habit. And talking about sleep, the thing that affects all of us today is, of course, screens, mobile phones, tablets, whatever. And I realized this the other day. I was, sitting in my bed, trying to do some, writing an email on my computer. At the same time, I was checking something on my phone, on WhatsApp, and then I had the Netflix screen in the background. So it's like, how many screens is enough? We are constantly bombarding ourselves with screens and all of the information stimulation that comes with it. I think somebody raised their hand. So, I don't even think that we stand, if we're standing in line, we're waiting in line to get coffee, we're on our phone. If we're waiting for a friend to show up, we're on our phone. Even at a red light, we pick out our phone. We basically don't know what to do without our phones. That's because they're constantly overstimulating our brain. And when people say that, today's day and age, our brains are distracted, it's not that our brains are distracted. It's that our brains crave distraction because they are so constantly overstimulated. So we as a species have basically forgotten how to be bored, which sounds like a silly concept, but being bored is actually really important for your brain. Because when you are not constantly bombarding your brain with information and stimulating it with external stimulations, that's when the brain has a chance to breathe, relax, be creative, think of new solutions to old problems. All of these things only happen if you give the brain a chance to wander. So your mind needs to wander, your brain needs to wander to be able to get through the surface and get to the deep creative ideas. And if you constantly bombard your brain with stimulation, your brain never gets that chance and it doesn't develop the habit. So we all need to relearn the habit of being bored. And this is not a joke. This is really real. When people say that I'm talking to somebody and, I totally zone out, I start thinking about something else, it's because of this. It's because you have trained your brain to not focus on one thing at a time. We're always trying to see something else or think of something else. That's why we cannot pay attention when someone is talking to us. So again, it's a long-term habit that develops over time. The less you stimulate your brain constantly, the better it gets at being in the present and being focused. No issue. Good.
Doctor?
Yeah.
All right. Can you try to join from your phone?
All good?
Phone data. Can you please try to join from your phone on your phone data, because you're freezing sometime now.
Out of that.
All right, friends. All right, friends, we have a bit of technical issues, but it's okay. You know, it's part of the game. But let me tell you, the conversation we had so far, it's very much relevant. Whatever she discussed, it's kind of a eye opener to us. You must be observing what kind of glass I'm wearing. It's called a doctor's sleep glass. Recently, someone told me, Faisal, you're spending a lot of your time on your computer. You're spending a lot of time on your, screens and phones. So this is something you can do to improve your sleep, and it also will help you to become sharpen your thoughts and brain. Everything. I started wearing it. You know what happened? I started tracking my sleep with a device called, it's a typical sleep tracker watch. I started, wearing during the sleep. And what I do, I track my sleep every single day. Initially, my sleep was like deep sleep. I usually sleep around six hours every single day from 10:30 to 4:30. That's my, sleeping hours. Initially, my deep sleep was less than an hour, just because of doing a couple of actions like, taking bath before, going to bed, wearing these glasses, taking dinner a bit early. It really helped me to improve. So to validate what doctor said, it's really, really important. Over to you, doctor. Now let me make you co-host, and probably we'll be able to have a better conversation now. Doctor, you're there? All right. Look like doctors still have kind of a challenges even now, but it's okay. Doctor, please try to join from your phone rather than from your device.
I'm on my phone actually, but I'm just downloading the presentation so I can do it from here too.
Absolutely. Okay, no problem. So, until doctor.
Is it better that way on the phone?
Yeah, absolutely perfect now. So you place your phone somewhere in the corner.
Yeah, I'm going to place it here.
Absolutely. Now this is perfect, doctor. Much better. Thank you. All right, friends. Also, I would like to hear from many people in the chat box. What are the challenges you're facing when it comes to brain power, boosting your brain? What are the questions you have? Please do post in your chat box, and I can unmute you in later stage when doctor can answer your question. But let me hear from you. What are the questions you have? All right, doctor?
Yeah.
Okay, good to go. Now, so it's okay. I mean, if you don't have a presentation, and if you can,
okay,
it works fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Memorizing locations, how to improve the memory. We have a lot of questions coming in the chat box now.
So we're talking about phones.
Yay, this is beautiful.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. Better. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about phones. So phone habits. There's one thing specifically I wanted to say is that when we go to sleep or when we wake up, in our brain we have different brain waves. We have delta waves, theta waves, alpha waves, beta waves, and so on. The delta waves are the slowest brain waves when we are in deep sleep. The theta waves is the state in between consciousness and subconsciousness. So when you're daydreaming, zoning out, that's when you're in theta state. Alpha state is the relaxed awareness state. So when you're just relaxing at a beach, or even when you're meditating, that's when your brain is in alpha state. And your beta state is your alert, awake, conscious state. Right now, you and I, we're in beta state. And when we wake up in the morning, our brain goes from delta to theta to alpha to beta. This is the natural rhythm, how we wake up. But if the first thing that we do in the morning is pick up our phone as soon as our eyes open, then we are immediately switching our brain from delta to beta. And we miss out this really precious theta and alpha levels, which are actually really beautiful brain states to be in. Because as I mentioned, it's the meditative state, it's the state where we have most creative ideas and all of those things. So when you wake up in the morning and the first thing you pick up your phone, you're robbing yourself of this really precious alpha theta state in the morning. So Give yourself 30 minutes in the morning of not looking at your phone, and you will notice that the rest of the day, you will be more creative and more focused and even more productive. And the other thing I always tell people about phone is the notifications. Just please turn notifications off. So give yourself a set time that you will check your phone messages on the hour or every half an hour or whatever your schedule is, but not anytime you get a notification, because you don't want to become a slave to this phone. You use the phone as a tool when you want it. This also helps with the overstimulation that I mentioned, and allows your brain to take a break from it. And as I mentioned, any habit, it takes a while for it to become a habit. And the reason things become a habit is because of a process called neuroplasticity, which is the ability of your brain to grow and learn and adapt to changes. Now, for the longest time, it was thought that once you become an adult, our brain doesn't change. It stays the way it is. Our brain is hardwired. But we know in the recent research in the last 10 to 15 years that this is simply not true. Our brain actually continues to learn and adapt and change. And it's plastic. That's why they call it neuroplasticity. So if you think of our brain as a dynamic power grid, it has billions of pathways. And these pathways light up every time you do something, think something, or feel something. And some of these pathways are well-traveled. So these are our habits, our established ways of doing things. So every time you think a certain thought, act a certain way, or feel a certain emotion, this pathway keeps getting strengthened and becomes easier for your brain to travel. Now, you say you think of something differently, or try a new task, or feel a different emotion, then your brain starts carving out a different pathway. And the more you feel this way, or the more you keep doing this action, this new pathway will now keep getting strengthened until it becomes second nature for your brain. And then the old pathway keeps getting weakened and weakened, and eventually you lose that habit. The great thing is, so this process of rewiring your brain by strengthening new pathways and weakening old ones is called neuroplasticity. And the great thing is that we all are capable of this neuroplasticity. If you have ever given up a bad habit or learned something new, it is because of the process of neuroplasticity. And I just wanted to do some exercises with all you people that will help improve your own neuroplasticity. And these are exercises you can do in your daily life to stay fit, to keep your brain sharp, to create new neurons in your brain, to create new connections in your brain, all of which allows the brain to be sharper and protects you from future neurodegenerative diseases. So are you guys ready? All you need for this exercise is 2 hands.
Absolutely. We are ready.
So you follow along with me. So I want you to make an OK sign with one hand and the peace sign with the other hand.
Okay. Okay and peace. Ready.
Okay and peace. Now you make OK with the other hand. OK sign with the other hand.
Okay.
And the sign with the first hand.
Okay.
Okay. Now you do them both together. OK and peace. And switch.
Oh my God.
And switch. And switch. It's gonna be hard. It's tough at first. And switch and switch and switch and switch.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. What's
going on? Okay. So what is this exercise doing, and why should we do this exercise?
Wow.
So the right hemisphere of the brain controls your left hand, and the left hemisphere of your brain controls your right hand. And usually our hands are used to mirroring each other's actions. But when you give each hand a different action to do, it really confuses the brain. But moreover, it helps build a better connection between the left and right hemispheres of your brain, the more you do these kind of exercises. And a more connected brain means a brain better protected from future diseases. It means a sharper brain. So when you do these kind of exercises, you can do them for like 10 times. You do this first thing in the morning when you wake up. You can even do it when you're watching TV or anything. And once you get good at this exercise, then you switch it up, make it more difficult for you. Try a different, try the thumb and the pinky. Try these different hand exercises. All these exercises, what they're going to do is they're going to help make your brain sharper, help improve your hand independence. So if you're a musician or it's an athlete, it helps you with these fine motor skills as well as hand independence. Even if you're a multitasker, you need to do multiple things at a time. Doing this kind of exercises helps your brain get better at doing those real life things. How about we do one more exercise? Okay, for this one, I'll tell you, I'm going to play a video for you guys on my computer, and I'm just going to hold my phone like this. And there's going to be words on the screen. And you can be on mute, but in your own homes, you can shout out the word, the color of the word. So don't read what the word says. Say the color in which the word is written. Okay?
Yeah, you can connect through your laptop. You can leave your phone there and try to play the video in the laptop.
I'm just gonna show you something. You can see it?
Yes, we can see perfectly. How strong is your mind? Stage 3.
Okay, so this, if you see it, you should be saying red color. Okay?
Yes.
And start.
Okay, brown.
No. You have to say blue. Red.
Blue. Red.
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 Pink.
Pink. Red. Green.
Green.
Oh my God. Gray. Oh my God.
Okay, now we're gonna be a little harder.
Red, blue, gray, red, gray, pink, white, red, pink, red.
And tougher.
Red, green, gray, white, yellow, red,
and last page.
red, green, blue, gray, green, red, yellow.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I can see you struggling. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if it's hard right now. The idea is that you want to keep challenging your brain and get better. Why is this exercise hard? So the part of your brain that's responsible for text perception is separate from the part of the brain that's responsible for color perception. And doing this exercise allows these two parts of the brain to talk to each other better and improves and strengthens the connection between these parts. And as I mentioned earlier, a more connected brain means a sharper brain and a brain better protected from future neurodegenerative diseases. So the more exercises you do of this kind will help you improve in all these actions. And there's other things you can do, like using a non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, using your left hand to write, using your left hand to draw, to open doors, to comb your hair, to brush your teeth. Because imagine, so as I mentioned, the right hemisphere of your brain controls your left hand, left hemisphere controls your right hand. So when you use your left hand for things that it has never done before, you are creating the production of brand new synapses in the right hemisphere of your brain that have never been created before. So there's all these new connections now in your brain. And it's almost like when you learned how to write for the first time, there was an expansion of synapses in your brain. And the same thing will happen to you when you use a non-dominant hand to do daily activities. And this is how to use the process of neuroplasticity in your daily life to improve your sharpness, to improve your memory, to improve your learning ability. Because after all, our brain is just a muscle. And like any other muscle in the body, the more you exercise it, the stronger and more resilient it gets. The best way to exercise your brain is by learning something new. So pick up a new sport, pick up a new hobby, pick up a musical instrument, a new language, doing crossword puzzles, whatever it may be. Whatever you can do to challenge and stimulate your brain in a positive way. And if you get better at something, don't stop. Then make it a little more challenging, because the idea is never to be amazing at something. The idea is to keep striving for more. And that's basically my presentation. And that's what we do in my center, Evolve Brain Training. We use the process of, we use a technology called neurofeedback therapy, which is based on the principle of neuroplasticity. So we use your brain activity and give you feedback about your own brain's activity to help change behaviors. So we help you improve, we work with people that have ADHD, we work with people that have focus problems, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, all of these things. We use the process of neuroplasticity to teach your brain and train your brain to go towards the more desired activity and give up whatever is undesired. And this is how we see life-changing effects in people. And let me see all the questions. I know there were lots and lots of questions.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Dr. Doctor. It's a great honor to have you here. I have a couple of questions. Let me ask the questions first. then definitely we'll take up some questions from the chat box, and also I will unmute few people and ask a question. My first question, okay. I was a native speaker. 20 years back, I learned English, typical way of learning, like, spoken English and all those stuff. Okay, over the 20 years, I learned my language. I started speaking pretty good English, but at the same time, there are times my language will disappear. Then I become that old native speaker. Kind of, I don't want to say that I'm becoming that kind of a speaker. And sometime when I come to the presentation, I'm in the flow and I'm absolutely doing excellently well. But there are days I cannot perform that way. I'll become that old guy who cannot speak English properly. Mm-hmm. What is the reason? How do I crack this? And I want to speak like this all the time. What do you recommend, and how to overcome this kind of brain stuff?
Practice, practice, practice. It's all about creating a habit, right? You have gotten into this habit that sometimes when you are in the flow, your brain goes back to this. So your brain has done this enough number of times, so it becomes second nature to your brain. So you have to break that pattern and create a new habit. And creating a new habit takes time and takes effort, and you have to be consistent with it. The other things that can affect it is also sleep quality. So maybe on the days you didn't sleep well, you have a higher chance of doing that. Or you may not have noticed this correlation, but that is always something that can affect your performance in anything, whether you're giving a presentation, you're talking, whatever it is. Not having good quality sleep can affect a lot of other things. So try to see if there's a correlation there. But otherwise, just practice, practice, practice. More practice. The more we practice, the more it becomes habit for your brain. Because our brain really, like the neuroplasticity in our brain is an amazing thing. And you can literally do anything with it. If you just do enough number of times, it becomes second nature for your brain.
Wow, that's pretty good idea. So I'm going to practice every single day. I'm going to host the sessions most of the day. Let me give it a try. And I'll make sure maybe I'll start observing what are the reasons I'm able to perform those single days and I could not able to really the way I really want to. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Dr. Upasana Gala, joining from Dubai, the founder and CEO of Evolve Brain Training Academy. Friends, it's a great opportunity for you to ask the questions. All you need to do, go to chat box, write your questions, and also go to participants list, and I can unmute you. If you raise the hand, I'll unmute you and I'll ask the questions. All right, I can see a couple of people raising the hand. Before I unmute the people, let me ask the second question. Okay, doctor, this is one of the challenges which I face, which most of the people will face the same challenge, which is listening skills. We all want to grow. We all want to go to the next level. We want to perform well. We need to have that complete focus and grab the information Dr. Upasana is sharing right now. But there is a language, there is a conversation going on our mind, probably, talking about the internet bandwidth you have right now. Or, Dr. Upasana, we were thinking like a very old, neuroscientist, and we see a charming young, woman came. There's a lot of conversations going on our brain. How to shut up that voice and how to focus on your conversation, how to get that a powerful and impactful listening skill, which can really help us to grow.
Yeah. So I touched upon this a little bit in the presentation. The reason your brain is doing that is because your brain is used to overstimulation. It doesn't just like paying attention to one thing at a time, because you have conditioned it with everything that, not just you, we as a species, we've been doing this because we are constantly bombarded by so many things. If you're on your phone, that is not going to, even on your phone, you're going to have 10 apps open at the same time. On your laptop, you have 10 browsers open at the same time. We're always doing so many things that our brain is used to doing multiple things at a time. Your brain doesn't like doing one thing at a time because it hasn't done that in probably a very long time. So that's why when somebody is talking to you, your brain is already bored. Like your brain is not stimulated enough with that one person talking to you. That's why it's trying to create its own ideas and stories. And so this is a long-term habit. It's going to take a while for you to develop good listening habits, and you're going to have to make other changes in your life. So, give your brain that break from constant stimulation. Give yourself 1 hour a day where you're not just, consuming information. Give yourself 1 hour a day so whether it's yoga or doing meditation or something that gives your brain a break. The more your brain gets used to not being constantly overstimulated, the better you will be at being in the present and focusing on one thing or focusing on somebody who's talking to you or any of those things. And again, it takes practice. So neuroplasticity takes time. Even though it's an amazing thing, it takes time. And you have to keep doing it multiple times until it becomes second nature for your brain.
That's really hell of knowledge. Wow. Thank you so much, doctor and friends. I think what we are getting is really pearls of wisdom. This is one of the biggest challenges most of the people face during this time. Thank you, doctor. It's really helps, and I'm going to really practice this because I need to really conquer. Probably I'll be start doing kind of an exercise you shared, and also we will be able to practice some of these techniques what you shared in the conversations. All right. The other question I have about the sleep, definitely you shared a good knowledge. You got a kind of an information about sleep, getting a deep sleep, having a quality sleep. I recently came to know about this deep sleep thing. I was never access to this information. I bought this Dr. Sleep glass. I used to start wearing it during the night. I started, tracking deep sleep. And I started taking bath before I go to bed. I started doing, temperature check. No, like, can you please explain what is it like? Now my deep sleep is 2 hours. How do I increase this to 3 hours? And what will be the real impact? And there are a lot of people I can see they're asking the question, how many hours we should sleep in a day? What is the sleeping during hours? So can you please touch on sleeping thing?
I will try to answer all these questions because I think there were multiple questions in this segment. So I'm going to try to answer all of them. So first, about the number of hours. There is no magic number. I know we all hear that, we need 8 hours of sleep, but there is no magic number for everybody. You need to figure out how many number of hours you need to sleep. You may be getting 8 hours and still not feeling up to, not feeling good, not waking up refreshed, not feeling well rested, not being your most productive, most efficient. So maybe those 8 hours is not good for you. And maybe the quality of those 8 hours is not important. But whereas you could be sleeping 6 hours, but have a really good quality sleep, and that could be enough for you. So it's not really about the number of hours. It's about the quality of sleep, and also it's very personal to each person. Because people also ask me, I like to sleep late, and I wake up in the morning. What's a good time? I wake up late in the morning. What is a good time to go to sleep? So there are different kinds of brains. There is the night, there's the owl brain, and there's the lark brain. So owl brain, of course, are the brains that like to stay up late till 2 or 3 in the morning. They're most productive after 6 p.m. and they don't, they don't really feel in the morning. They're not energized at all. They're super drowsy. And then there's the lark brains lark is basically a little early morning bird. So that's why they call lark brains. And these brains, they love waking up early in the morning. They're the most productive before 2 p.m. and they like to go to sleep by 9 or 10 p.m. So it's really important to know your own brain type and figure out your sleeping time based on that. Now, even though our brains tend to sleep at 2 or 3, even though that's the natural body, natural brain type, it can cause people that sleep late. We know from research over several years that they are more susceptible to diseases. They're more susceptible to heart disease, more susceptible to neurodegenerative diseases. So even if that is your tendency, you need to try to move up your sleeping time by 15 minutes a day, then half an hour, then 45 minutes, like that. The best time to fall asleep, to go to sleep, is between 8 p.m. to midnight. So the way our deep sleep, you mentioned deep sleep. So the way our brain goes through phases, in our brain, we have, in our sleep, we have the non-REM sleep, which is the deep sleep. And then there is the REM sleep, which is the lighter sleep. And regardless of what time you sleep, the lighter REM sleep happens towards the late hours in the night. So if you're only going to sleep at 2 a.m., you're not going to get enough of the deep sleep, because the deep sleep happens in the early period, 8 p.m. to midnight. So that's why even if you're an owl brain, it would behoove you to go to sleep before midnight, so you get enough hours of deep sleep, and then adjust your schedule accordingly. And if you're a lark brain, then that's perfect, because lark brains usually fall asleep between 9 to 10 p.m., which is the perfect time to go to sleep. So figure out what works for you. There is no fixed answer. And with your glasses, it's actually a very good thing you're wearing them, because the blue light that you see from cell phones or TV screens or anything, or even the signs in Dubai, there are so many giant signs, and outside, and all those signs have this blue light. And this blue light basically tells your brain to shut off the production of melatonin. And this melatonin is what tells your brain that it's time to go to sleep. So as soon as the brain sees that blue light, your brain is like, oh, it's not time to sleep yet, it's still daytime. And then it helps you, stay awake. So put your phones on blue light filter after 8 p.m. Wear the blue light filter glasses if you can, and keep your room as dark as you can. And it will help you improve your quality of sleep.
Oh my goodness, neuroplasticity, and really need to study. Where did you get your doctorate? And can you please share a few words about it? I mean, I'm really interested in to go for a doctorate now. For me,
yeah, So I've always been interested in the brain ever since I was a little kid. I've always been interested in science. I used to have a picture of Einstein in my bedroom. So, so the brain has really been, I just think it's the most incredible organ. It's such a small organ, it's 2% of our body weight, but takes up 20% of our energy. And it's responsible for everything we think, we do, and we act. So I always knew I wanted to study the brain. And I did my doctorate from the US, from Baylor College of Medicine.
Great.
But I've been studying the brain for the last 50. I did my undergraduate in neuroscience and my PhD. So for the last 15 years, I've been studying the brain.
My goodness. And what kind of practices you do in Dubai? I mean, do you do one-to-one practices and you help people to rewire their brain and having this neuroplasticity? What do you do?
Absolutely. So in Dubai, I have in Business Bay, I have a center, Evolve Brain Training, where we use the NASA patented technique of neurofeedback. So this technique was invented by NASA, and they use it for their own astronauts to improve their focus. And even the Department of Defense in the US uses it for the military, for the soldiers that have gone to war. Now they're suffering from anxiety and depression. They use it for them as well. Sports teams, athletes use it for improved performance. So neurofeedback is the technique that we use to help people with anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, focus, all of this. And the way it works is basically neurofeedback means feedback for the brain. So an analogy I often use is, imagine you're walking by a mirror and your hair is messed up. Now, when you look in the mirror, you get that information about your hair being messed up, so you fix it, right? So that is exactly what we do with your brain. We show the brain its own activity in real time. And when the brain sees what it's doing wrong, it can essentially self-correct and self-regulate. And the way we show the brain what it's doing is using EEG sensors. So these sensors are basically listening and monitoring your brain activity. And then this information about your brain activity is translated by my software onto a video output. So during a neurofeedback session, you'd be sitting in a chair, watching something on Netflix while the sensors are attached to you. And say you want to improve your focus. Then every time you are focused, the sensors will sense that, and immediately the screen becomes full screen. It will be clear and the sound will be good. But if you get distracted, bored, then the screen becomes small, it becomes blurry, and the sound gets muffled. Now, the big screen and the good sound, they are a positive reward for the brain. Brain likes it. So brain will try to do more and more of the activity that gives it that positive reward. So it will try to be more and more focused, more and more calm, whatever it is we're training a brain to do. And eventually, if you do this many times, if you do this kind of training many times, because of the process of neuroplasticity, this new way of being more focused becomes your brain's natural habit. So that's how we bring long-term changes in people.
Oh, wow, so beautiful. I'm so interested in this subject now, and I need to contact you. Definitely, I'll be in touch with you.